my channel Notes of Nara. My name is Naja Rashida, and today's topic, we're going to discuss intentional living, knowing the differences between priorities, needs, wants, and desires. So intention, what is that? You're living with meaning and purpose behind what you are doing, what you are creating, what you're taking a part of. As I've shared with you in the past year or so, I've been working my way out of this numbing experience I've had, where I just kind of felt disconnection in all that I was doing and thinking and feeling. Not necessarily burnout, but definitely disconnection. And so this summer I've been reconnecting with my mindset and my heart space and my behavior, my action, what I am currently or desiring to create for myself in my life. And for the past several years, I have been practicing observing my cycles and seasons on my path. And this takes part of the Native American medicine wheel. And for those of you who would be interested, this is a book I have. I have very few books, but this is one book that is quite significant. It's called Wisdom of the Natural World by Granddaughter Crow. She has her own YouTube channel, and it's primarily focuses on the spiritual and practical teachings from plants, animals, and Mother Earth. So, you know, as someone like myself, I tend to struggle. I've gotten much better. I've gotten a lot stronger, to be honest, with integrating my being into the human experience, if you will. And so natural medicines like animal spirit medicine and plant medicine, these are things. When I say plant medicine, I specifically mean herbs and teas and tinctures and whatnot. Not psychedelics. But I will say like that, I feel like nature walks in trees and things of that arena. I feel very just natural connection to that helps ground my energy. And so again, I just wanted to share that it's a great book if you are open to just studying your own patterns and behavior and why you do the things you do when you do it. Great way to do that, as well as journaling, keeping an open documentation of your day-to-day life, if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of you. But no, today with the medicine wheel, I've developed and noticed that there are seasons where you have priorities, seasons where you have needs, wants, and desires. And then I've tuned in and tapped into this on and off for a few years now, I think starting in 2020. And this is a great way to organize yourself and to put order into your life. But why is it so important? In the spiritual community per se, I have heard that needing anything is wrong. Wanting is attachment. Desire is, to weaken yourself. And priorities is it's like running away from the present, right? When you have priorities, you're not really present with anything. But what if I told you that having clarity in what your priorities are, what your needs are, what your wants are, what your desires are, is incredibly legitimate. It's okay to have organization. Yes, it's a very beautiful thing to be open and being in the space of surrender and to be in flow, but it's also just for the sake of your own sovereignty and autonomy, right? As an individual, you must be very clear on what your priorities are in your life, what your needs are, what your wants are, and your desires. Otherwise, you're just a mess. And the more you can become clear in these different areas of your life, that then the more in alignment you are with receiving what's meant for you. if you don't know what your priorities are, what's most important, what takes emphasis in the structure of your life, when you are scared to look at what your needs are, and I told you I was open about this because I was struggling with I was disconnected from my own heart, for at least a couple of years. But this year was very significant. I had no idea how disconnected I was. And the heart has needs, like the body has needs. It's not a want for when the body is like, oh, I need water, I am thirsty. Or when your stomach, you're hungry, right? The body needs nutrients to sustain itself, to keep you going, right? So to minimize our own needs, in this human experience, is to minimize our purpose, our meaning, and why we're here. It's okay to have needs. It's okay to have wants. Wants, to me, like for priorities, it's very earth energy for me. And, it's very part of the physical world, right? It's a priority to eat a square meal every day, right? It's a priority to drink your water. It's a priority to move your body. It's a priority to, go to work so you can sustain your lifestyle. It's a priority to pay your taxes. It's a priority, to do what you enjoy from time to time, right? And so it's a very earthy, grounding type of energy when you're able to clarify what your priorities are in your life. And then also for your needs, there's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of frequency of guilt and shaming around needs. People have needs. We all have needs, whether that's emotional, mental, even sexual, or financial. We all have needs. And so you must be honest with yourself. You must practice honesty and self-awareness and get in tune with what your needs are. Usually they are come from an emotional space, from the heart space. A lot of us neglect our inner child for many, 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 many years. And so we are disconnected from the needs of our wounded child that we all carry within ourselves. It's an archetype, okay? And then, so yeah, needs to me is very, I would say it's air, the element of air. And I say this because in some respects, when I think of air and wind, it's something that you can't see, but you definitely need it, okay? You can't see it with your physical eye, right? You can't see it with your eyes, but it's something that is just so automatic, that is crucial for life, for the life itself. The breath is something that we need. And so that air energy is, again, it's something that's so needed, but we can't see it. And a lot of the time, the things that we need, we can't see it, but we know it's a hunger. It's something that it becomes a craving. And things that go unmet, needs that go unmet for a certain amount of time, become toxic. It becomes a poison, and it poisons the mind. And it creates these portals that allow certain attachments into our consciousness that can sicken us, because we've neglected our needs of the heart for so long, our needs of the body, and even with pleasure, right? That can also cause some very inverted issues within our psyche. So that's why the element of air, like when it comes to needs, I think of air because you can't necessarily see it, but it's so vital, right? It is so vital. It's so crucial for life itself, for existence itself. Wants are the water thing. Whenever I think of wants, the frequency of wanting, it's water in movement. It's in flow. Have you ever, you as a child, especially when you're a child, you go into the mall or a store or a candy shop. Oh, I want that, and I want that, and I want that, and I want that. It is abundance. You step into that shop, that store full of abundance, right? You don't really get into the nitty gritty of, do I really need this? Like, do I? No, it's all just like when we're in the frequency of wanting something, we are opening that channel of abundance. Is what we want right for us, is what we want healthy for us, is what we want, what we really want, right? Because that changes, just like the current in a river or the flow in the ocean. It's very, very full of water and ever changing. And that's something in the frequency of wanting and the element of water. Water is always changing, and wanting can be so powerful that when you're clear with what you want, then you tune into that frequency of desire. And desire to me is fire. Okay, it's that passion. It's more focus. Wants are all over the place. Oh, I want that. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. Desire, you lock in. Okay, you lock into what it's like you can't, it's almost like you can't sleep, you can't operate, right? It's something where you lock into that experience or that person or that thing, and that thing locks into you. Desire has a lot to do with frequency matching. So if you meet your match, especially when you have a strong desire, you lock into it and you pull it. It's very magnetic, desire. It's very, very magnetic. And it's almost like oh gosh, I'm trying to think of, I'm gonna have to pull out my book here. The Book of Wisdom by Harry B. Joseph, Revival of Wisdom. Check them out. My dad gifted this to me. What am I trying to, it's a symbol, but I want to tell you the correct title of it. Just a simplified. Desire is a powerful force. I will tell you that. This is what I see when I think of like desire. You see that? The energy. It's just coming in, out, in and out, in and out. And it's, this desire is amplified when that thing outside of ourselves becomes a vibrational match to us. And what I've noticed is once we acquire what we desire, we then see if we really, if it really was in alignment of our purpose or not, right? It's very tricky. These are very tricky things to figure out. It's never like, oh, well, I know what I want, I know what I need, I know what my priorities are, and I know what I desire. No, it's never that simple. It's always in flow. And so, and given that, it's part of, and I'll show you the medicine wheel in this book, so you can get an idea of how I see time. Okay, it was somewhere in here. Okay, see? Medicine wheel there, okay? So, cyclical time is in this realm is very linear, but then the true nature of time will always be a mystery, number one, and number two, it's very cyclical. It's simultaneous. The past, present, future exists all at once. It's not something that there's no beginning, middle, or end. It's like the end is the beginning and the middle is the beginning and the end, and then it's just all. And so with your priorities, needs, wants, desires, it's the key to figuring all this stuff out is presence. Is being in the present moment. It's difficult it's a difficult thing to try to figure out. And also, I will say this, the unpleasant part of being human is negative experiences. Negative experiences can help you clarify what your priorities are. Negative experiences can clarify what your needs are and what your wants are and what your desires are. Because that's when you learn what is right for you and what's not in alignment for you. And unfortunately, the only way to learn that is to go through it. Go through that dark forest or the unknown and see what works. Trial and error. Because to come into this world and know what your needs are, and know what your wants and priorities, no, you have to learn this. You have to learn through experience. And which will, when you allow yourself to experience, it will allow yourself to create more opportunities, okay, for you to figure it out. We all have to figure it out. I wish at times, yes, that it was so easy for me to know what my needs are and my wants and my this and my that, and I would say where I'm at in my life currently, it's much, 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 much better than 10 or 15 years ago. But again, it's subject to change. What is a need for you may now be a desire. What's a desire for you now may be a priority. What a priority is for you now just may become a want. It fluctuates. And that's the power of presence and what presence can do. It gives you a doorway to freedom, of liberating yourself from attaching yourself to what you think you need all the time, what you think you want, what you feel you want. Because what you may want may not be right. What you may desire may not be right. What you need, what you think you need may not be right. And a lot of the time, though, about needs and wants, I will say people avoid what they need because what we need sometimes doesn't really feel good, or we feel like it doesn't do enough for us. And what we want, we get trapped in that candy shop mentality. I want that, and that, and that, and that. We put all of that in our shopping cart. And then when we get to the register to check out, we're overwhelmed because there's a price to pay with all that wanting, right? When you go into a store, okay, perfect example, when you go into a shop or store, you usually have an idea of what you're going in there for. There's a list. Some people that go in and they're like, for me, I'll go into a shop and sometimes I have a list and I'm like, okay, I am here for this. This is the top priority on my list. I gotta make sure that when I leave this store, I have this. I purchased this item. Then I have a need. Okay, I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need more toilet paper, right? Or hey, this is something I want. Or man, this is something I've desired for so long, but is it a priority? You have to have that, that's a great analogy really of priorities, needs, wants, and desires. Just think about it when you enter into a shop. And also another thing I want to share with you, release the guilt, shame, blame game. Release that. You don't need that. A lot of us feel guilty for our wants. I see that a lot of people get stuck on needs and desires because what we desire, really, really desire, sometimes doesn't really fit the box or the status quo, and you may feel guilty for desiring that thing. Or what we really, really need, we feel shameful for asking for what we need because then we look weak. Weakness, unfortunately, is projected onto need, right? If you say or state that you need something, then you're weak because you're saying that you can't do without something. And that's very unfortunate. A lot of the time, the things that we need is the very thing that could be our awakening once we receive it. The very thing that, for a desire that we may have is the very thing that could heal us on a very deep level. And you're avoiding it because you're trying to, again, attach yourself to what you think you need, to what the ego believes and tells you to want or to need, right? I know I'm using these words interchangeably, so I hope you're able to follow with what I'm saying. That all of this ties into living intentionally by knowing your why, and I'll make another video on knowing why it's important to know your why and why you're doing what you're doing, and some people, they're like, no, just do it, just be in flow. What does flow mean? What does flow mean? I would say, if anything, it's presence. Just be present in what you do. But also, if you have long-term goals or something, or if you feel that you're far away from what your desire or the type of lifestyle you want to live, then approaching this and using these tools in this way could help you. Clarifying your priorities, needs, wants, and desires will help you. And knowing your why, I believe. So may this message find you well and whole. I will close out with a few notes. And yes, have a wonderful day.